So we'll do football from June till the first week of October, and then I'll be in athletic director mode for wrestling and volleyball and boys soccer, but I'm not actually coaching anything. So I do get a break from practices and things of that nature from October to December, but then basketball will start up in January, and we'll be in that till the end of February, and then track will take us through March and April, and then I do get a break during the month of May before we start football workouts back up for summer workouts. So I definitely have come to appreciate the breaks.
All right, joining me now is the athletic director at Holbrook Middle School. He also plays a bunch of roles. He's the head football coach. He's the girls basketball coach and also the boys track coach. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Appreciate you having me on.
What did sports look like for you as a youth?
When I was a kid, the only thing I really played was football. When I got to junior high, I played football in junior high and high school for Bessemer City Junior High and Bessemer City High School.
So did you have any plans out of high school that you thought maybe football would take you a little further?
Not really. I wanted to be a teacher from the time that I was in elementary school. And I knew that was the route that I was going to go. I had some teachers that was in my family, my uncle, and I had an aunt that was a teacher. And my third grade teacher, Miss Brown, actually was one that inspired me to want to become a teacher. It wasn't until I got into junior high that I realized that sports and coaching is something that I also felt like I had a passion for.
That's awesome. So let's talk about one of your roles as the athletic director. What does a typical day look like for you as the athletic director?
Typical day. So when I get to school in the morning, I'm usually working on in the 30 to 45 minutes before school starts, I'm usually working on paperwork or making sure that everybody knows the schedule, particularly if it's a Monday, making sure everybody knows the schedule for the week. If we have any kind of games, things of that nature, coordinating with gate workers and coordinating with our coaches to make sure everything's set up, coordinating with the financial secretary to make sure we have gate, everything ready. We don't have a booster club in middle school, so I essentially am also the concession manager. I have to coordinate with Sundrop about getting our drinks and stuff ordered. I have to go to Sam's Club to pick up the concessions. So you have all that going on. Try to get as much of that done in the morning as possible because from 8:30 to 2 o'clock I'm in teaching mode. I'm a special ed teacher, so do a lot of IEP meetings, a lot of IEP paperwork, and then from 2 o'clock on, get kind of back into athletic director mode, working on paperwork or making sure fields and things like that taken care of.
So you mentioned being a special ed teacher. So how do you juggle all that? So you're a special ed teacher. You're also the athletic director. You throw in football. You throw in all the other sports that you coach. How do you juggle that?
I don't think you do. I think I work a lot from home. I think sometimes people get emails from me at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. There's been many a time where I'm writing IEPs on Saturdays and Sundays. There's times where I'm just getting as much done as I can here and there, but I'm passionate about both, or actually all of it. Passionate about the coach and the athletic director and by being a special ed teacher. So when you're passionate and you're enjoying what you're doing, you tend to make it work.
So I know how middle school can be, and I know how it could be with like finding coaches because it's difficult. Obviously, the stipends aren't amazing. Do you take on a lot of these roles because you mentioned your passion, because you're passionate about it, or some of the roles just because there's nobody else, so you're stepping up to it?
No, I'm passionate about it. Before I come to Holbrook, I worked at Bessemer City High School for 15 years, and I was a football coach. I was a basketball coach, and I was a track and field coach there as well at the high school level, where all the sports kind of overlapped, and there was really never no time off because uh, as soon as uh, football started in June. Now it's an 11-month job, but at the time, most summer workouts started in June. So you went football from June to November. Basketball started in you late October, early November, so it overlapped, and then basketball took you into March, which track or not March, particularly into February, where track and field usually started about the week you was ending basketball, and then track and field took you through usually school graduation when state championships were. So there was really never no time off. At least in middle school, there is uh, there is a little bit of a break in between football and basketball starting our fall two sports. So, but no, I love football. I love basketball. Uh, Track and field was my first ever job for Gaston County. I was the head boys track and field coach at Bessemer City Middle School back in 2002. So it's just been, I'm sure they're qualified candidates that want those positions, but those are my passion as well. So
That's awesome. Do you like the not having time off thing? Like as far as like you don't really have a break in sports?
um, I probably 10 years ago when I was a little younger, it didn't bother me. But now that I've gotten older, that's probably why I like the middle school aspect. Is like you say, I coach football. We've been having summer workouts since the beginning of June. So we'll do football from June till the first week of October. And then I'll be in athletic director mode for wrestling and volleyball and boys soccer, but I'm not actually coaching anything. So I do get a break from practices and things of that nature from October to December, but then basketball will start up in January and we'll be in that till, the end of February, and then track will take us through March and April. And then I do get a break uh, during the month of May before we start football workouts back up for summer workouts. So I definitely have come to appreciate the breaks. And it's probably what has kept me from trying to go back to high school, to be quite honest, because even football is my number one passion, but high school football has turned into an 11-month a year job. And it's sometimes a 7-day a week job. And I just don't know. I just don't know how I feel about that at this time. I ain't gonna rule it out, but I just don't know how I feel about it at this time.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because I feel like football at all outside the NFL, football at all the levels, like college, high school, everything has just it's just longer and longer. You mentioned athletic director mode. What does an email look like from Coach Nichols versus an email or a phone call from athletic director Coach Nichols?
Uh, I Some people say I send a lot of emails. I do over communicate because I don't want. I over communicate with everybody. I over communicate with our coaches. I over communicate with our staff. I over communicate with our parents, with our student athletes, because there's one thing you'll never be able to say about me is that you had to guess what was going on. I like to keep people informed. I like to make sure everybody knows what's going on. Uh, I try to make sure that there's no doubt, and if there is, please ask. I would rather you ask than assume. And so I typically tend to like to do email because not just for necessarily of having a paper trail, but just because you have it for reference. You can go in and search Brian Nichols and find that email that I sent to you. And when somebody says, I didn't know this, I'm like, yeah, you did, because I sent an email at this date at this time. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I teach fourth grade, and that's one of the big things for me is like I over communicate too. And nothing kind of annoys me more if I ever hear a parent go, "Oh, you didn't dojo that." Oh, I did. And I love to keep receipts. That's my favorite thing. Playing football, and obviously now you coach it. What is a lesson that you think carries over from football to the classroom?
Well, hard work. Uh, there's going to be failures at times. You're not always going to be able to do everything right the first time. And I explain to my kids that. I explain to my kids that, like anything, uh, it takes practice to get better. And just like playing a sport, or a lot of them love video games. And I'm like, well, the first time you ever played a video game, did you know exactly how to do everything? Did you know exactly how to, like, without going and learning the controls? Were you able just to pick up the game and play it to mastery? And they're like, no, we had to practice, just like practicing math, practicing reading, practicing your multiplication tables. And sports is kind of the same thing. You come out there, and we have a lot of kids who come out for football who have never wore a helmet, who've never gotten in a stance, who have never uh, been through agility stations. And you have to learn. It's all learning, it's all practice. And the more you practice, the more you get better. And you got to have a growth mindset to where, you may not be good at it now, but you can get better. You're not always going to be bad at something. And even the kids that don't have the best athletic ability, they can learn something and they can get better at something.
Would you rather have a kid that has an amazing attitude but his athletic ability is okay, or would you rather have an amazing athlete but his attitude stinks?
Attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. If you've got a bad attitude, um, it doesn't matter how good a player you are. You're going to bring down everybody else if you don't have a good attitude. We like to have fun. We like to be excited. You'll hear me say that a lot. If you was in our practice, you got to be excited. Um, it's just enthusiasm. It's playing for your brothers. It's playing for your family. Teams are family. And I would rather you have a good attitude. And you may not be the best in the world, but if you're making eye contact and you're listening and you're giving best effort, that right there is that means the world. Uh, and we do have kids like that who could be super talented, and we've all experienced them, and maybe not at Holbrook, but maybe at the past at Bessemer City, but you just have to work on them and get them to understand that, you know, when you're a good athlete, everybody's watching you, but what kind of leader do you want to be? Do you want to be the good leader? Or you want to be the leader that everybody's like, well, they got a bad attitude, but they're really, really good. Why do they have a bad attitude? And try to make them understand that if they have a positive attitude and everybody's bought in and everybody's working towards a common goal, then the sky's the limit as far as the success and the goals that you're trying to set.
You mentioned goals, so we'll use. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter football, basketball, whatever. What's a goal that you set with your team, and then at what point does wins and losses come up?
So when back in 2004, I was hired to be the head football coach at Bessemer City Middle School, and we went through and had a phenomenal season. And I was 22 years old. Like I was young, but I was very excited. I had a vision, I had a plan, and the kids bought into it. We went 7-0 that year. Only gave up 6 points, and that's kind of been my formula for how I approach each middle school team. Obviously, middle school and high school is different. A lot of it's kind of the same, but it's different because you play a smaller game. You only get to coach the kids for 2 years because you only have them in 7th and 8th grade, versus high school, you have them for 4 years. But we always come in, we talk about the goals we want to set. We want to be one of the top, we want to have one of the top defenses in the county. We want to have one of the top offenses in the county. We try to set, okay, there's 11 teams, and if you say you can be top 3 in each one, then that's pretty much going to take care of itself in terms of getting you a chance to play in the county championship. And your next goal is to win your division. Our division's tough. It's Holbrook, Greer, Southwest, Cramerton, and now Mount Holly. It used to be Belmont. No, it's Belmont, sorry. It used to be Mount Holly, but they switched 2 years ago. And so our division is very tough. Sometimes you lose one game, you're on the outside looking in and need help, which we've had to have that happen before to get to the championship game back in 2022. But the next thing is we talk about putting a trophy in the trophy case, and you can be 4-2 or 4-3. You put a trophy in the trophy case. So wins and losses take care of themselves. It's just about setting those goals of having a top 3 offense, a top 3 defense, win your division, get a chance to go, and then put a trophy in the trophy case. And they get pretty excited about it. They know we have, ever since I've been at Holbrook, which is more kids than we had showing up for summer workouts when I was coaching at Bessemer City High School. And one year I helped at North Gaston High School, but we usually average anywhere between 35 and 45 kids showing up to summer workouts at Holbrook. So they're bought in, the parents are bought in, the community's bought in, and it helps with meeting those goals. So in the last 4 years, I think we've won 21 games at Holbrook, and been to the championship game twice, winning it last year. So it makes a difference. It's a culture.
Oh yeah, culture is huge for sure. What's the difference between coaching girls and boys?
Girls listen better. They do. We've got a program in place now with the girls basketball team where if me and my assistant coaches weren't show up, they could pretty much run practice by themselves. They know the program, and they know the expectations, and they know the work ethic. They have a confidence and a swagger that it's not cockiness. It's never cockiness. I've always told my kids, don't be cocky, because when you get cocky, that's when you get humbled.
Yep.
But over the last 4 years in girls basketball, it's been an amazing ride. That 2022 team that started it all, that team could have beat some high school girls basketball teams in the state. Oshana Holland and Nakira Arrington and Jakira Sadler, Jalea Littlejohn, Shemai McCoy. Yeah, they could have easily knocked off some varsity teams in the state, and definitely could have won some JV conference championships. And I was fortunate enough to have Jakira and Shemai for 3 years, and they just 2 amazing young ladies. And then we kept it going this past year with a couple of the girls that had played 3 years, Chevanite Barnes, Kalia Foster, and Genesis Hall, along with Kennedy Johnson, and Kyslin Forney. And we had some closer games this past year, but like I said, the program's in a good place where the girls, they all believe in each other, and they fight for each other, and they listen. That's the main difference. They listen. We can have a huddle in football and tell the football players, all right, this is what we're going to do, and then 5 minutes later they're all asking, what we're supposed to be doing. and girls ain't like that. So yeah.
I noticed that in my fourth grade class too. Like when I give directions, or like the specific like following details thing is like very strong with girls versus boys. You know, boys always miss like one of the details. Now let's talk about you coaching track. So track, in my eyes, it's not fully, but in my eyes, it's an individual sport more than a team sport. How is your approach to that different than it might be with football and basketball that are more team sports?
It's still a team sport if you're competing for team championships, because every point matters. And this year we were fortunate enough to have a good bit of talent that actually came out for the track team to where we could compete. And we ended up tying Belmont for the division championship. And uh, we had a couple things happen at the county meet. All it takes is one or two results to go south, and it can mess you up in track. But I remember I used to coach a young lady at Bessemer, and she was always like, "Why are you worried so much about points?" And I'm like, "Well, you play basketball. What are you trying to do when you play basketball?" She said, "Score." I said, "Well, absolutely. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to score." And so, as coaches, you have to try to figure out where you can maximize your points. You might have a killer relay team, but you could take two or three of those guys out and put them into like the 100 or the 200 or the 400 and maximize points. Still run a good strong relay team that would finish maybe second or third instead of first. You pick up 8 points, but you're picking up points in those other races that you wouldn't have got if you just ran all those guys in that relay and got 10 points. So there's strategy to it. It still is a team sport, but it is individual because kids are competing individually for PRs. But you take three kids out there and take first, second, and third, and you score 24 points in an event. You're still trying to score overall for your team if you're trying to win the division or the county. Probably two of my favorite memories of coaching track is when we unexpectedly in 2016 we won the state championship in the girls 4x2 relay. We went in ranked like number 6, and 4x2 the girls didn't even like it. They liked the 4x1 better, but we went in and we were number 6 ranked in the state in 1A, and we ended up winning it. And the next year, two of those girls were returners, and from the beginning of the year, they were ranked number 1 in 1A all the way throughout, never finished worse than second. I think we finished second at the Gaston County meet, lost to Ashbrook. We went to a relay up at Polk County and finished second. And every other meet we finished first. We won the regional, we won the conference, we won the state, and we won back-to-back state championships in the 4x2, which was pretty neat. And so you have things like that where, yes, you can win individual. Had a kid this year, Hudayfa Jamal, who won the 400, was probably a second off of breaking the county record in the 400, and he's going to be back. He's going to be an 8th grader this year, so he's going to have a chance to go out there, and if he works hard, he can shatter that record. But track is fun. There's a lot more strategy to track, I would say, and like I say, trying to maximize them points if you're trying to win a championship.
Yeah, well, I was interested to hear that you say the thing about first, second, and third place, because we didn't, when I swam in high school and we didn't get first, second, and third place. Like if you had 1, 2, and 3, they always gave the 4th place person the 3rd place points. So like our coaches, it was weird because I went to high school in Florida. And so our coach's strategy was always, all right, we'll get 1 and 2, and then we'll sneak, a slower kid in there that maybe will pull 4th. So then we could, so like that was the whole, like, because you knew that it was a waste if you were throwing somebody out there that was fast. As athletic director, how do you build a positive school culture?
I am I am a let's see how I say that. So I try to treat everybody the same. I try to I'm a I, I try to have a good sense of humor. So in anything, when things get too serious or you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, um, that's not going to be beneficial to your program. So I try to, I don't want to say joke. Yeah, I like to joke and kid around with my coaches and get them at ease and make them know that I'm there for them and that I'm there to support them and support our athletes. And so we try, like I say, I try to talk with them as much as I can. I have them fill out a coach's questionnaire at the end of this year, and just with like, how did they feel about their season? What is something they wish they'd have done better? What is something they thought I should have done better? What do they need for the upcoming season? Uh, are they planning on retaining their assistant coaches, or are they looking for new assistant coaches, things of that nature? And it helps to really guide my conversations with them. I encourage all of my coaches to fundraise. Middle schools, we don't get the same kind of budget that high schools get, which high schools usually burn through their budget for officials, travel, and police officers. But pretty quickly. I remember that usually it's gone by Christmas, but um, we don't have, like I said, we don't have a booster club. We run our own concession stand, so we fundraise a good bit. And I have some coaches that do, and some coaches that don't like fundraising, and I understand that. But what they have to understand is their wants versus their needs. I'm going to get them what they need, but anything past that, if they want it, they're going to have to fundraise or get donations or of something of that type. But when I come in, I'm like, we are Holbrook. And if you used to come out and hear me ask my kids, say, who are we? All of them will yell, they all yell Holbrook. That's the kind of thing I want it to be, is that we're all one big giant family. We're all working towards common goal, making our kids better, uh, student athletes, student part first. We send out emails to the teachers, checking on our kids, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in the classroom, being classroom leaders. And the administration is great. Mr. Ross, he just retired, but our new principal, Mr. Winston, he's a former athletic director, so he knows the values of interscholastic athletics. Uh, you just and then your teachers, your staff, they love it. They enjoy being bought in. We have something called Adopt a Line, and every year we try to do different sports, but the staff members will pick a team like football, and the staff members will adopt a player and kind of be like a mentor, or bring them snacks or something on game day. And we just try to get everybody from the custodians to the bus drivers to the cafeteria ladies to the TAs, the office staff, the teachers, uh, the parents. I mean, we have parents that love to get involved. We just try to get everybody involved, and then the same thing. And you'll even see some of the parents start to copy our "We Are Holbrook" if you follow them on social media. And once you get that going, you got something special.
How do you define success as a middle school athletic director?
Success, uh, that our kids are getting a quality experience and really knowing that they are loved and taken care of and cared about by the school, by the community, and by our athletic staff. And I feel like I'm almost fairly sure, I'm 99.9% sure you could ask any of our rising ninth graders that just finished this last school year that are going to high school. They're about their athletic experience at Holbrook, and they're going to say they loved it. I feel like you can ask any of their parents or family members, and they're going to say they loved it. It's We had our end of the year awards banquet, in May, and I'm gonna have to break that sucker up because it went 2 hours. But you wouldn't have thought it went 2 hours because of all the fun. I mean, we celebrated football. Wrestling won its first county championship in school history. Girls basketball, um, cheerleading. We celebrated 4 county championship teams, and the way and it flowed so smoothly. But just the accolades about our students, and you, like I said, you wouldn't have thought it ran 2 hours, but we didn't have a parent complaint one. They said that it was enjoyable, and that the kids deserved it. And it's just, I don't know, Holbrook's special. It's just a special place to be right now.
All right, let's go a little rapid fire. Favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? Let's see. Favorite sports movie. This ain't gonna be rapid fire. You gotta give me a second, cause
You're good. You're good.
my mind ain't as sharp as it used to be. Let's see. One that I can watch anytime it's on. You're gonna think it's crazy, but Wildcats with Goldie Hawn.
Oh, that's not crazy. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You are showing your age a little bit there, but that's a good one. What's a good quote or mantra that you kind of live by?
Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your reputation is merely what others think you are, while your character is who you really are. John
That's
Wood.
awesome. Who's the most inspiring athlete in your opinion?
The most inspiring athlete? Oh, man. I wish you'd rather ask me who's the most inspiring coach. Most inspiring athlete.
You could change it up to most inspiring coach. I'm good with that.
Most inspiring coach. I'm gonna say Mike Krzyzewski.
Ooh. Are you a Duke fan based on that?
I am a Duke fan.
Okay. Like I said to you earlier, I went to high school in Florida, so I don't have a dog in the fight, but that's always an interesting turn of events. Do you have a pregame or postgame snack?
When I was coaching high school, it was leaving and going home and doing huddle, but stopping by Taco Bell to get a quesadilla. So when I was doing high school, I don't really have anything now in middle school.
Quesadillas from Taco Bell are amazing. That's literally my jam. Why do sports matter in middle school?
Sports matters in middle school because I found that we have some young people who, when they're in 6th grade, they tend to be the high flyers in redirect, and being called, having parent referrals and things like that. But especially your football players, once they have something to look forward to, kind of that carrot, they tend to change their attitude about the classroom, because they know that if they want to play sports, they have to tighten it up a little bit. If they continually get in trouble, they're not going to be on the team. They're not going to get to play. But I think sports in general teaches life lessons, learning how to work with others, how to face adversity. That's a big thing. Everybody's used to having everything kind of handed to them, but that's not the case in athletics. You have to earn your keep, and you have to learn how to work with others. You have to learn how to follow directions. So I think it's a good tool for learning life lessons.